Do you ever feel like that we as citizens of the world are just running a daycare for adult children? We have a president playing a schoolyard bully, a tech innovator posting at 3 a.m. like he was grounded by his parents, the world's biggest banker flipping the board over with all the pieces on it just because he's losing. These aren't kids. These are grown-ups with microphones. So pick up your juice boxes and grab some num-nums because nap time is over. Let's get teed off. Welcome back, everybody, to Teed Off, our weekly backflip into all the news that is worth hearing, at least according to me. I'm James, your Sherpa guide on this adventure, and I'm packing the who, what, where, when, and how with no filter, no fluff, and as always, no political affiliations. Today's episode is all about adults with children's minds that probably have too much power and influence. Here's the rub. Nobody ever actually teaches you how to be an adult. They just hand you a mortgage, give you a slap on the rump, and say, go get 'em, champ. We are all winging it, just pretending like we know what we're doing. The people in charge, they're in the same boat, just under a bigger microscope. So whenever these folks come into the living room, throw their limp bodies on the carpet, and start wailing because they don't get their way, it's a lot harder to ignore them and way harder to deal with them. We are tackling some of the biggest over 5 foot tall crybabies on the planet. Why they never grew up, perhaps run through a few of their greatest hits, and maybe offer some parenting tips for people with nuclear codes. But before we do that, let's get into a comment that relates to all this. This week's comment comes from Dean Lewis 1615, and he is responding to commentary that I made regarding government inefficiency and how we didn't have to go after jobs in order to fix it. Dean says, "It is wasteful spending. I don't care if someone loses their job. Grow a set of balls and stand up for what is right." Great big red exclamation point. Thank you for the comment, Dean, and let me tell you, I get the frustration. I really do. All the time myself, in fact. I see the waste, the incompetence, the bad decisions, and my first instinct is to just go ballistic. And more times than I like to admit, I do. We are all human. We have all been there. But here's the thing, and why I created this channel in the first place, is because I wanted to see how I interact with the world and ask myself, does it help? Telling people to grow a set might feel good in the moment, but it immediately shuts down the conversation. Nobody hears your point after that. They just hear tone. And that's kind of the theme of today's episode, right? Grown people acting like kids. We confuse aggression with strength, volume with leadership, anger with conviction. But real power, it's staying calm when you're right. It's making your case without turning it into a street fight. Because once it turns into a shouting match, then it's just for attention then. And it's not solving any real problems. And whenever that happens, nothing changes. So Dean, I hear you. Waste matters. Accountability matters. But if we actually want to fix things, we have to talk like a person that wants to be listened to, not one that just wants to be heard. Good comment though, Dean. I appreciate it. Anybody can get their ideas on the comment of the week. The only criteria, you have to leave one. All right, time for the first segment. Let's get started with the original gangster, the OG Donald Trump. There is a lot of middle school energy from the most powerful man in the world, a 79-year-old who has perfected the art of playground name calling. He doesn't debate, he nicknames. Sleepy Joe, Crooked Hillary, Little Marco. I mean, how many debates have we seen in the last decade that have turned into WWE promos?
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do when the Trumposaurus comes for you, baby? Yeah.
And all his bullying stuff, that is just his love language. You don't agree with him? Cool. Now you get to be called ugly. That is not leadership. That is not having the ability to intellectually engage with other people. Another case in point is the McDonald's thing. This is a billionaire, a president, an old guy that should watch his health more. He has access to some of the best chefs on earth and eats like he just got his first allowance. Filet of fish, 2 Big Macs, fries, no vegetables. That is not a diet, Donald. That is a sleepover menu. That's the kid who says,
My mom says I didn't have to eat broccoli.
And I don't care if you love Trump, hate Trump, or have a shrine to Trump in your man cave. You can admit this. The man lives online, posting at 2 a.m., arguing with people on social media. The kid who needs to get the last word in, and also the kid that confuses going to bed early with losing dominance. Brother, you're supposed to sleep. You have a nation to run. I'm breaking it down for you in a very simple truth. Trump isn't acting like a child. He's being rewarded for it. The louder he is, the more attention he gets. The more outrageous, the more coverage. And the more he keeps doing this and succeeding for it, other politicians just start to mimic him. You've seen it. We've got a whole jungle gym full of adult children dropping F-bombs every time there's a camera around now. It's like all of government has forgotten how to form sentences without gratuitous, explicit language. But we built these little foul-mouthed monsters with cliques for Donald Trump. Those cliques are his approval ratings. So, what would a grown-up Trump look like? Here's a possible fix. Stop punching down. That's what second grade bullies do. If you're right, you don't need insults because you have results. Argue ideas. Don't attack people's physical attributes. A second fix for you, Mr. Trump? Get offline. Seriously. No world leader should be live tweeting their feelings. That's what note apps are for. Third fix? Hey, just eat a vegetable. I'm not asking for a wheatgrass cleanse or anything like that. Just meet a carrot. Shake its hand. Yeah, they're good for the eyes. The truth, Trump is smart. He's strategic. He knows how media works. And he has a knack for relating to those people that if they ever were in the parking lot of Mar-a-Lago, he would have them removed from the property, which makes it worse whenever he decides to act like this. He knows better. But his hubris, fueled through click approval, will not allow him to grow up. This is the kid who knows the rules but breaks them anyway because it gets attention. Adult body, child software. So President Trump, you don't need to bully. You don't need to call people names. You don't need to mock them. And you definitely don't need McNuggets at 3 a.m. You are already the loudest guy in the room. Maybe try being the one that calms things down. I don't know, maybe try sharing a milk and binky with Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders sometime. Who knows? It's time for the Back Nine Loving. If you are over 40 and still dating like you're 22, then we need to talk. Because some of us are emotionally grown, but logistical toddlers. Look, if you're still ghosting people, you're just playing hide and seek. Just say, hey, not feeling it. And if that is said to you and no real investment has been made into the relationship yet, just say no worries. Best of luck. That's adult language. And if you are still playing games, waiting 3 days to text back, posting thirst traps on purpose, pretending you're busy, that's not mystery. That is just a step above pulling ponytails. Grown-up dating is simple. Say what you want, mean what you say, do as you promise. No smoke signals, no riddles, no CIA level decoding. Because the goal isn't to win dating. It's finding somebody that you can share space with without walking on eggshells. Simply put, if it would have annoyed you in high school, don't do it at 50. It is now Elon Musk's turn in the teed-off hot seat. You ever meet that kid whose parents were so rich that nobody ever told him absolutely not? That's Elon. Not evil, not dumb, just unchecked. He is what happens whenever every idea you've ever had gets funded. Most of us have dumb thoughts and say, oh God, wow, I'm glad I did not say that out loud. Not Elon. He says, interesting, and then goes and buys a company to develop the idea. This guy collects businesses like they're Pokemon cards. Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, Twitter, X. Because nothing screams maturity like renaming a global platform after a sketch you doodled on your notebook cover in study hall. And don't get me wrong, rockets, they're amazing. Electric cars, very cool. But then he hops online and he starts arguing with a guy whose profile picture is a wolf wearing sunglasses. Look, pal, you are worth more than some countries. Why are you having beef online with some chump named Wolf Daddy Crypto 726? And let's talk about the kids. Because Elon has children the way that billionaires buy islands. Casually, recreationally. And the names? I can't even pronounce them, so I'll just put 3 of them right here. Yeah. Eccentric much? Look, I'm all for creativity, but one of these kids' names sounds like the printer whenever it's low on ink. That name isn't human. That's a 2-step verification password is what that is. Imagine being that kid and having to introduce yourself. Hello, I'm... You don't need a nickname, you need IT support. That is rich kid swagger. Naming your child like you just installed new software. Thanks for having us over to the barbecue. Let me introduce you to my offspring. This is version 3.8. And the funny part is that Elon wants to be cool. I mean, you can tell. The memes, the edgy jokes, the literally wanting to fight Mark Zuckerberg. Bro, you build rockets. You don't need to sit at the cool kids table. You own the cafeteria. But he keeps trying, posting, replying, liking his own tweets. That just screams that I had to play with my invisible friend Bob until I was in my mid-20s. So what is possibly a fix for Elon? Stop crowd surfing your own comment section. Just put the phone down. You already won capitalism, bud. Also, any random thought doesn't have to become a global headline or a multi-billion-dollar money pit. Some thoughts inside, just keep it in the head. And stop trying to be cool. Cool does not chase attention. Cool ignores it. Lastly, next kid's name, Mike. Not only for the sake of the child, but for society as well. It is time for the Nostalgic News Minute. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm James Roberts, coming to you from the Back Nine Studios. Our lead story tonight comes from the United Nations, where today's diplomatic session turned into a daycare fight. Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev took the floor this afternoon and listened politely until he became upset, removed his shoe, and started striking his desk repeatedly. Yes, a grown man in charge of nuclear weapons beating furniture with a loafer. Witnesses report that the shoe was not provoked. It was not stepped on. It was not insulted. It was simply available. Diplomats sat in silence, unsure of whether to take notes or call a parent. We once believed that leaders were composed. Turns out, they're just children in expensive suits. It is time for Jamie Dimon to get roasted for his childlike behavior. He is the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, one of the most powerful bankers on the planet. And you can just tell that this is the guy still cheating at board games, sitting at the dinner table during Christmas. Jamie is the kid who never lost because he is the kid who never played fair. You'd be playing an Uno game with him and you're about to win, and then he suddenly pulls 3 draw 4s out of his hoodie pocket. He was the kid who would be shuffling a deck of cards like he was a Vegas magician. You blink, boom, all of a sudden he has 4 aces. He would set up the battleship game with a mirror on the wall behind you, be playing Connect 4, sticking his fingers in the holes so you couldn't get the checker down. Then he would say, well, those are the house rules. What do you mean house rules, Jamie? Nobody agreed to house rules. You just made that up because you're losing. And guess what? He grew up, but he never changed. He just swapped community chess cards for financial loopholes. Now he's not saying, whoops, I forgot the rules. He's saying, well, technically, it's legal. That is adult cheating. Same behavior, just with lawyers. And Jamie Dimon talks about the economy like he personally invented it. You work at a bank. You don't own time. And when something goes wrong, it's never the bank's fault. It's the market. It's the system. It's inflation. That's kids' logic. Like my dog ate my homework. He's the kid that would calmly flip the board over and say, the game is flawed. No, Jamie, you are just losing. Sometimes it happens. He is a very smart man though, and that's what makes him dangerous in Monopoly. Because he is the kid who reads the rule book just to find ways around it. And now he runs the biggest bank on the planet. Same energy, different stakes. Instead of losing at Yahtzee, people are losing houses. So what is the fix for his adult adolescence? Firm parenting. Play fair. If you're winning honestly, then you don't need tricks. And stop pretending like you didn't know what you're doing. You're not 6. You are a CEO, for God's sake. And it's okay to lose sometimes. So hands off the board, Jamie. And that goes for Candyland as well as the economy. You're not a villain, Mr. Dimon. You're just a kid who has to win every time, any way he can. Let's move right along into this week's hack trick. Okay, it is time for a hack trick that helps adults stop listening to their inner 12-year-old self. Hack number 1. If you are eating macaroni and cheese 4 times a week, you are not busy. You are just avoiding vegetables. Buy one real ingredient. Anything that is green, that isn't mold. You don't have to be a chef, just stop eating like your mom's on vacation. Hack number 2. If your clothes live on a chair, that's not furniture. That is a cry for help. Fold it, hang it. Become a person that owns a dresser. That's character development. Hack number 3. If you type angry messages and send them immediately, that's just like a toddler throwing a dirty diaper. Write it out. Don't hit send. Just go take a lap around the block. If it still feels smart later, go ahead and publish it. If not, then you just matured emotionally. That is today's hack trick. Just remember, less Lunchables and more vitamin C. Okay, last segment, we are getting into the ladies of The View. Now, these ladies are not leaders of anything. They are influencers, and there's a big difference. They don't run countries. They don't run companies. They run conversations. And they run them like high school girls sitting at a cafeteria table, which is a version of power, just a softer version which fewer people validate. Because this show isn't a round table, it's a clique. Same people, same perspective, same applause. If you only talk to people that agree with you, ideas do not grow. They marinate, and not in a good way. They just get saltier. Your bubble, your echo chamber. You stop testing your thoughts. You stop challenging yourself. You stop learning and you start repeating. Because cutting against the grain feels like disrespect. And these ladies are successful. They are rich. They earned their platform. But success can trap you. You get comfortable. And comfort can lead you to stop being curious. And that is how grown adults end up thinking like teenagers. Everyone they know agrees with them because they're the ones that took over the table and decided who could sit there and what they could think and say. That's just confirmation bias, ladies. Your audience is not tuning in for new ideas. They are tuning in to hear what they already believe. It's comfort food for opinions. It's the mac and cheese for the brain. So maybe just try bringing in real disagreement every now and again. Not fake TV beefs, actual opposing ideas, and hear them out rather than just waiting to speak. Stop trying to control conversations and try understanding others' views. Talk to other people you don't agree with, having an open mind. Don't bash them from 5 angles. Just listen to them, just for a bit. Because if you never leave your social circle, you never get the view. You get your view. These ladies do have influence. Use it to grow people, not just rally them. Okay, that is it for this week. I bumbled through that one. I pretty much dry mouth the whole time. I should have had some water out here. Thanks again for all your support, guys. I will not be doing another one next week. Like I said, I went back to film school, so I'm doing these every other week until I can get my sea legs going at being a student again. Teed off week after this Sunday. I think I will probably be able to get back into doing them every week after that. But if you like the content, I'll put up a couple more newer ones up here. You can just click right on them and you'll go to them. Leave me comments, subscribe, share, do all those good things. Thanks a lot for joining me again. I will see you guys next time.